Welcome back to Bobby Lad, and I'm here with AP the Fighter, who's taking on Ethan Stern on BRANDRISK Promotions. It's under a week till fight day. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, man. This is my life. This is what I do. I'm very comfortable in this position. Honestly, this is a very favorable matchup this time.
Mm.
I'm excited, ready to handle business.
Well, boxing's your life. For the people who don't know what got you into boxing, and for the people who may be coming across you for the first time, what got you into boxing and what motivates you in your career?
Well, what got me into boxing? It's actually kind of funny. Um, I think I graduated high school, and I spent about a year out after that, like just kind of doing whatever. And I got a little fat, and I had always played sports, so I was like, man, like something's got to change here because bro, I think I smoked like a blunt and ate a full box of cherry glazed honey buns. And the next morning I woke up and just looked at my stomach and I was like, bro, something's got to change. So I ended up getting into the boxing gym. But on a deeper note, what keeps me motivated throughout my career, because for a while I boxed, but I didn't really know if it was what I wanted to do, just because of the amount of anxiety and pressure. So I put it down. But I actually went through like a 2.5 to like a 3 year long drug addiction. And what got me clean was dedicating everything to,
Mm.
boxing at a high level, you know. So that's honestly like what really got me over the hump was just needing to find a way out of that. And boxing ended up being that. So.
You're taking on Ethan Stern. How did this fight come about, and what excites you the most about this fight?
Well, it came about. I had a couple of names. The other two fell through. So Ethan ended up signing a contract. So that's how it came about. I saw, Ethan was on a card, like he was on two brain risks ago. So we already
Mm.
knew of him and we knew he could be a potential opponent. So that's how it came
Yeah,
about. What excites me the most though is the fact that it's just in Las Vegas in order to be in the UFC Apex, and Dana White will be there, like Armin Sarukian will be there, bunch of huge names. So that's probably the most exciting thing. I mean, I never thought I'd be
yeah,
fighting at the UFC Apex. Like, what are the odds of fighting at the UFC Apex, but I'm not in the UFC in front of Dana
yeah.
White? You know what I mean? That's like 0.0000001%. So,
You're 3-0 in your boxing career. You're improving every fight. What is the biggest mistake Ethan can do in the ring with you Saturday night?
um, I would probably say the biggest mistake. I would probably say the biggest mistake Ethan can do boxing against me is really just there's nothing really he can do that I'm not going to capitalize off of, honestly, bro. It really doesn't matter what he does. Like, he could come forward, he could go backwards, go left, he could go right, he could go up, he could go down. I'm just going to find the holes and take advantage of the gaps in his game. There's just so many gaps in his game. um
Mm.
so like I just there's not really like one massive error that he could make. Like, everything he's gonna do is gonna be an error. That comes from like the most humblest standpoint possible. Like, I'm a boxer professionally. You know what I mean? Ethan does MMA. He like wrestles. He boxed a little bit back in the day, but he's more of like a grappler type. So, there's just really not much that he's gonna be able to do in there, man.
Yeah. Your opponent fought General Zach on a previous brand risk card. Did you watch that fight, and if you did, what was your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, I think I fought Gabe Silva that day. That was the card that I fought on. And I did watch the fight back on YouTube. Uh, you know, he looks like a wrestler or a grappler that's just trying to box. It was very
Yeah.
sloppy, lot of openings, a lot of gaps. You know, he has a nice little overhand that he caught Zach with, but Zach ate it. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Um, you know, there's just going to be a lot of mistakes that he's going to make that I'll be able to take advantage of. And I mean, the thing is, it's like if you can't get General Zach out of there, like you're not going to be able to get me out of there. Like
yeah.
I would absolutely starch General Zach. I like Zach; he's cool and whatnot, but like, you know, if you can't get him out of there and you're gassed by like the middle of the first round against General Zach, you're gonna have a very difficult time being able to handle me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, how's your training camp been for this fight? I mean, with what you can say, you don't want to give too much away, but how's it been?
It's been solid, bro. Just working on a lot of technique. Really, I'm not. I'm always in shape for the most part. There's never like
Yeah.
a really period of time where I'm not like in shape. Anyway, yeah, there's not a lot of time where I'm like not in shape. So a lot of this was just working on technique, and just how to
Mm.
handle southpaws. You know what I mean?
Well, in your two previous fights, you fought Gabe Silver and Minicon. You're
Hmm.
basically taking over the Misfits division. Like, who in the Misfits scene are you looking to try and destroy next?
I'd like to fight Anthony Taylor. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I'd like to fight Chase Demore. That'd be awesome. Even though I'd honestly like to see Chibu fight him more, because I think Chibu could beat him.
yeah,
Um, what I really want to see is like a Brandrisk versus Misfits type card. Like Misfits, they're doing like Misfits versus Fame Fighting right now. I would love
yeah.
to see. I would love to see Brandrisk versus Misfits card because I think we'd wipe the slate with them and it'd be awesome.
Yeah, Brandrisk and Misfits have a little bit of a rivalry, especially with Aiden Ross KSI. If there was a Brandrisk versus Misfits card, what type of names would you like to see on that card?
Definitely got to see Scam fight. I see Scam fight. Definitely got to see Chibu fight. Um, I guess, I guess Gabe Silva would be considered brand risk now.
Yeah,
So definitely gotta have Gabe Silva on there. Antonio Bang Williams, that'd be another dude that I'd feel would be able to represent the brand well. And then myself, obviously. As far as like women fighters, either Zemina would be good or Darren would be good. I feel like they'd be
yeah.
able to hold the brand risk name up. So like as far as our slate, that's who I would like to see.
Taking it back to your fight against Gabe Silver, talk to me about what it was like. Obviously, they're two different people, but his dad's a legend in the MMA scene, and obviously he, I'd say, with the name he has, he should have been able to, not able to, but on paper, with the name and the background he comes from, on paper he should have
Yeah.
technically been winning the fight, but you took the win.
Hmm.
What was it like, not only fighting him as his dad's a legend, but the whole fight weekend, the fight itself?
It was awesome, man. It's a these experiences going through to these fights and fighting these individuals in these places like Aiden's warehouse, and now we're gonna be at the UFC Apex. It's an awesome experience, one of a kind type
Yeah,
stuff. And then being able to fight a guy like Gabe Silva, Anderson Silva's son. um it's just electric because the thing is, I'm thinking, okay, this dude's, the son of a legend, like he's rich, like, I'm gonna get in there, put the pressure on him, he's gonna break.
mm,
Because all of his opponents before that, besides Anthony Taylor, weren't really like fighters, like, they weren't like born bred fighters. A lot of them were kind of just influencers that he easily dispatched of. But when he fought Anthony Taylor, he got TKO'd. So I'm thinking, I mean, I'm gonna go in here and walk through this guy, which wasn't the case at
Mm,
all. Gabe Silva, the Gabe Silva that fought Anthony Taylor is way worse than the one that I fought. The one that I fought, like, he was nice, slick, defensive,
mm,
very nice counterpuncher, very slick boxer. Like, his defense was so on point. There were very few gaps that I could really take advantage of. Um, and that's the kind of stuff that like boosts my confidence because I beat a guy like that. Now I feel like I can beat anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
uh, so it was a good confidence boosting experience all around. And after I won that fight, I told myself, if you could beat him, you could compete with legit pros. You could
Yeah.
in due time you could actually win like a championship belt. So that's kind of what sparked that.
Well, with you saying that about beating him and you can beat most people, do you believe your mentality is one of your big aspects in your boxing?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it needs to be for anybody just because, like with that Gabe Silva fight, for example, I cut 40 to 45 pounds to be able to fight him. And I fractured my right hand like a week before that fight in training. So, like in my head, none of that mattered. The weight cut didn't
Mm,
matter. My hand didn't matter. None of that mattered. Like I was telling myself the entire time, you know, this is an opportunity that I'm not going to let slip. I'm not, bro. I'd have to get shot not to pull out of a fight, honestly.
mm,
And even then, I might just put some tape around it and just say fuck it anyway. Like I'd have to have like a serious, serious injury for me not to fight. Because even when I was putting on that glove on my right hand for that Gabe Silva fight, like I could just feel like bones like moving where they shouldn't be moving. Like it was so
mm,
bad, honestly, thinking back to it. But mentally, I was just like, screw it, I'm going in there. I'm gonna throw my right hand didn't even matter, like it wasn't even injured, and you
yeah.
know that carried me to that win. Honestly, it carried me to the win. Just the mentality.
Well, you said you'd like to fight Chase the Moore. If I believe you had a couple back and forth between his coach, and you said you'd like to fight his coach and then Chase. What makes you believe you can beat the Misfits heavyweight champion?
Um, just looking at a box, he's not like he's got some technique, but he's not more technical than I am. And the thing is, it's like being big, being that big, and that like being that large, it makes the gaps and the openings where you can be hit massive. You know what I mean? Because it takes a
Mm,
long time for you to get back to the stance you need to be in to be defensive. I mean, when he fought Andrew Tate had the blueprint for the first two rounds. He was landing exactly what he needed to land to win the fight for the first two rounds. The only reason Tate lost was because he got tired. Had he not got tired, Chase would have lost. Like, bro,
yeah,
He's a big guy, but he's not a very good boxer. He really isn't. He should be playing football or something. Um,
yeah,
and I'm Tate's like 38. I'm 28. If I fought Chase, I'm not getting tired, and I'm gonna be able to take
yeah.
advantage of the gaps and the openings that he presents. So just watching a box is what really just gives me the confidence that I could beat him.
What's your whole thoughts on influencer boxing? Because it gets not hate, but well, it gets quite a lot of discredit. But what is your whole thoughts on it? Because it only started recently, only a couple of years ago. It's bringing a lot of people into boxing. What is your whole thoughts on it?
It's kind of funny when it first came about, like back in like 2019, 2018, or whatever, when Jake Paul first started jumping into this. I honestly hated it. I thought it was a disrespect to actual boxing. But Jake Paul actually put time, effort, and energy into getting good at the sport. And it got to a certain point where it's like, okay, you can't deny this guy's like he's an actual boxer now. He boxes for real. And when you take a step back and you take your ego out of it, you take emotion out of it, it's just good for the sport of boxing. it gets more eyes on the sport of boxing. People that might not have watched a boxing match now, will sit down and watch their favorite influencers fight, retired fighters or up and coming fighters. And then besides that, you know, this whole scene, and if any fighters watch this interview, this is really what I want you to take away from this. Out of anything in this interview, I need fighters to understand that you need to try to take advantage of this influencer boxing stuff, because what this does is it allows you to make money and grow your brand and grow your name before you even get to the big name organizations. Before this, I wanted to go to the UFC. I was training MMA, but I saw this influence of boxing stuff going on, and I was like, man, I need to take advantage of this because it could get me some fights, some experience, and a name before I go to the UFC. Imagine if I still wanted to go to the UFC right now. I'm fighting in the
Yeah.
UFC Apex in front of Dana White. You know what I mean? Before I'm even there, I win the fight, look at him and say, I'm coming for a UFC contract. Like, I pretty much, like, I'm that much closer to a UFC contract there. You know what I mean? You're getting paid, you're getting eyes, and you're getting a name before you even, bro. A lot of these people are amateur. You know what I mean? You're
Mm.
never getting paid for an amateur fight ever before this influencer stuff came about. So, like I said, if any fighters are watching this, you need to take advantage of the scene, grow a name, grow a brand, and try to get into any of these influencer leagues. It doesn't have to be BRANDRISK. It doesn't have to be Misfits. There's X Rumble, there's Celebrity Boxing, there's Crypto Fight Week, there's some like Fight Gecko thing, Fame Fighting. There's so many different influencer leagues now. You have to take advantage of them. And it starts with social media. Not to rant for too long, but like what fighters really should understand now is, you don't have to go the social media route, you don't have to be a content creator, but it is your best interest to get in the habit of posting on social media like once a day at very
Mm.
least, and growing a name before you get to the UFC, before you get to Showtime Boxing, before you get to like PFL or wherever you want to go. So you have a name, you have a brand, and you have some leverage when you go into those contract negotiations.
So, say Saturday night you defeat Ethan Stern or potentially knock him out, and you look ringside and see Dana White. What are you going to say to him? What would you say to him?
I'm looking at Dana White and I'm saying, Zuffa Boxing, I'm coming 2028, bro. I'm coming for that belt. You know what I mean? Because I
Mm.
just feel like that's a perfect segue into this amazing promotion, this amazing brand that he's created. You see a lot of fighters like Connor Benn. I think Devin Haney's in talks with Zuffa Boxing. Jai Opatai, he's a cruiserweight champ now. It'd be a perfect segue right into it. And it's just like, bro, in this life, I'm a 28-year-old man now, and I just, you hear it all the time. It's not what you know, it's who you know, and that's absolutely the truth. You know what I mean? Being able to, speak to Dana White directly after that fight and say, "Look, man, like I'm coming to fight for your organization in a couple of years here. Just be on the lookout." And then, that time comes, be like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy. Let's get him a fight. Let's get him a favorable matchup." You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this life is, a lot of it is connections and who you know, man, for real.
Mm. Amazing. That's everything I've got.